Hi, welcome to Simply Made Fancy. I'm Ruth Angelina, and I made cloth Easter baskets for my boys. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make your own cloth baskets, even if you're not an expert at sewing, just like me. So here I am, working on a late night project. Once again, my projects are always at night because the boys are sleeping and I can have time to do things. And also it's a surprise for them. So what am I making? I'm making cloth baskets. Never done this before, ever. I'm not even the greatest, seamstress because I taught myself. And if I can do this, I know that everybody else can do it. So I want to show you how I'm putting this together because I know that my boys are gonna love it. So I recommend everybody should have a sewing machine in their home. Even if you don't think that you're ever gonna use it, you will find ways to use it. A couple of years ago, I told my husband I wanted a sewing machine and he got me this little Singer sewing machine, and so many projects have happened in this sewing machine and I've never taken a class whatsoever. My mom and my grandmother are seamstress, but I've never gotten a lesson from them. Maybe by osmosis, or maybe it's hereditary and I've picked up a couple of things. So I don't know how to use all the gadgets and all the things that the machine does. I just know how to do a stitch and that's pretty much it. And I recommend everybody get a sewing machine, whatever you can afford. If you can, have one at home. For this project, I had bought some fabric a while back on sale. Of course, Star Wars, Jedi Toy Masters. That's my husband and my boys' channel, so check them out. And they're obsessed with Star Wars. And I had just gotten this on sale because it was on sale at Joann's. I didn't know what I was gonna use it for. I had it hanging around. And then when I thought of an idea to make cloth baskets, I remembered that I had this stored, so I'm using this fabric and it was like half price when I bought it, so it's perfect. And then you're going to need like a felt fabric. This you can get it for like, I don't know, like $1 or $3 a yard, and I always have it on hand because it's great for projects with the boys, so I always buy like big bulks of it whenever they're on sale. And I had this as well in the house, so I didn't have to buy this. I've had it, I think, for about 2 years. I've had this big roll of, and now it's coming to an end. It's not that much anymore. So you're gonna need cotton and this felt. Those are the two fabrics that you're gonna need. And then another thing that I recommend if you are going to start sewing or venturing into sewing is buying something like this, like a straight edge. This is for quilting, and then a mat. And this is easier for cutting. I don't have any fancy table to do all my sewing or anything like that, so I rely on that. And also this fabric cutter, and of course a scissor. The other thing that I normally do use that came with the sewing machine is this kind of thing, because it rips seams and it's really handy. And then of course pins, but that's really about it. I don't, again, if you're looking for a video about expertise on sewing, this is not it. Okay, this is just me, a person that's not an expert in sewing whatsoever, taught myself a couple of things, and it's just going to do this fabric basket for my boys. And why a fabric basket? Because Easter is coming and I wanted them to have something for Easter to put their Easter things, and also something that they can keep for other things. Since they like Star Wars, a lot of their things go with Star Wars, and they can just pick up their toys and put it there, and each of them will have their own. So that's, dual purpose, not just pastel-y Easter bunny basket, but something that it'll be useful for them to have for the long run. So That's what you're gonna need. Now I'm gonna show you the measurements of everything, and how I took the measurements is that I took an existing basket that I had, like a metal basket, and I try to figure out the configuration and the measurements from that, and then that's how I did my cuts. So let me show you that. You're gonna need 2 pieces of fabric that are the longer parts. This is going to be the part that is going to be the rounded. This is a rounded basket. So this is the barrel of the basket. All right, you're gonna need 2 pieces of that, and we're gonna cut it into 28 inches, okay? So you're gonna need 1 felt and 1 fabric. So what I'm doing here is that I cut the fabric to the length that I needed it, which was 28 inches. I had to do 3, so this is the one of the sides that I needed to do because I'm doing 3 baskets. And then the same thing with the felt fabric. Just went down and cut it 28 inches long, and it was 8 inches width. So now you're gonna need the bottom of the basket, and these are round circles. You're gonna need felt, and you're gonna need also the cotton, and this is about 9 3/4 of a circle. And of course, both cuts allow for seam allowance. Again, I'm not a seamstress. I don't know all the terminologies, but I know that seam allowance is what you give yourself a little bit more room, so when you're sewing, you have a little bit of an edge. That's all I know. Don't know so much. But this is about, again, 9 3/4 of an inch, and I just figured it out from the bottom of the metal basket that I had, and I just cut it a little bit longer, wider, to give myself a seam allowance. And now it's time for the handles. So I'm gonna do 2 handles because I don't want the 1 handle, long handle in the basket. I want 2 side handles for my baskets because they're boys. I figured that's a little bit more masculine. So you're gonna need 2 strips of the cloth, cotton, and then 2 like smaller little strips of the felt. And that's going to be about 15 inches long and 3 inches wide. So you're gonna cut 2 of each. And then for this one, it's going to be 1 inch wide and 15 inches long, the same length. So you'll have it just like this. Time for sewing and assembling this little project. So you're going to see that I have a thread that's like a goldish color because I had a lot of this. And since the parts that I'm gonna sew now are not the parts that you are going to see in the basket, I'm gonna do it in this color because the parts that you are going to see sewn will be the blue, but I only have a little bit, as you can see, and I wanna make sure that I save it for the decorative parts of the basket. So that's why you'll see a different color. If you have the same color as your fabric, just go with that and you don't have to change it around. But since I didn't, I wanna make sure that I have enough for later for my decorative parts. So now, this is the first thing that you're going to do is put together, take your felt. You want to half it. And then this is where you're going to do 1 stitch across, allowing for about a few inches for seam allowance, okay? And the back stitch is when you do reverse, and then the sewing will go back into itself and then you won't have anything coming out. I'll just cut it. And this will be the inside part. So when you turn it over, this is the seam. You won't see anything in it. I pinned it and I just pricked my finger. And now I'm going to do the same. I always have to make sure that I remember how many pins I put out and how many pins I'm putting back inside the pin cushion, so I don't find them on the floor or step on them, or the boys step on them, because it always happens. So this piece is together. As you can see, this will be the part that'll be the outside. So that's why you need 2 pieces, because this will be the inside insert and that'll be the outside decorative part of the basket. And it gives it a little bit more structure and strength to the basket. So that's why I chose this fabric. For your circular part, what you're gonna do is that you're gonna half it like that, and then do it again, fold it again, so you have 4s. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna do a little snip right here, just a little tiny snip, so it can show me that this is a part where I can focus. Make sure I line everything up. And then the same here, just a little, just like that. And then this, you're gonna do the same. So the part that has the seam is one focus area, and then the next part here, you're going to do a slit. And where that line is, right where that line is of the stitching, that's where you're going to be measuring from. So not from edge to edge, but from the line, because this is your edge is the line of the thread. And then you're going to go like that, and then there you're going to snip it, and you'll see why in a second. So you're going to find the little slit and one, and then line it up. So then you have both of them, and that's going to be your first pin. That way, when you're pinning all around, when you get to the next one, to ensure that it's not crooked, both snippets have to be, or slits, have to be in the same location. So you want to make sure that you're stitching like this so that you're not sewing the other parts. It's just the stitching all around. And you're just going to follow the line, the pattern that the fabric is making, so that you can get that circle. I have the stitch all across, time to unpin. And then I'm going to do the same to this fabric. What you're going to want to do is that you're going to want to flip over your basket part and leave this one just the way that it is. So what you're going to do is that you're going to match the finished side with this finished side. So you're going to put it inside each other and make sure that the seam match. So you can just press down and just get that seam to match. Here it is. This is what you're going to want. Yes, it's the reverse side. That's exactly what you want. You want the outside, the unfinished side, and then the unfinished side. Get it? And you want these two seams to meet. And then you're gonna work on your handles now. Or I'm gonna work on the handles. And all I'm doing is that I'm doing a stitch, going like this, doing a stitch all along here. Then I'm going to flip it inside out and put this inside, like stick it inside. And how I do it is with my chopsticks. Next step with the handles is that you want to flip the side, and I started flipping this one already, and you're just turning it inside and out, inside out. I don't know, there must be an easier way to do this, but this is how I do it. I'm sure there's like some super tool. You can insert this part into it, and I used the little tool to stick it in there and just work it through the fabric. That's one more to go. I changed the color of my thread to the blue because I'm gonna make 2 seams along the side, and that'll also hold the inside part and make it like a little decorative part for the 2 handles. So I don't know if you can see the stitching, but there's one along this side and one along that side, and that's the handle part. Now, this part of your sewing machine, you're just gonna slide it out. Just leave this back part without sewing it. So you'll start sewing your seam from here, and then you'll stop right after the handle and keep opening. And as you can see, this is why I removed that piece, because I can work it through, and that is not cumbersome, and it can go right through. Okay. I did the stitching all around, except that I left an opening, and that's where you're going to flip your fabric. Now grab the fabric from the bottom and gently, so nothing can come apart. See? And then you're gonna stuff this part in there. Okay. So this opening right here, we're gonna sew that when we do the decorative line. So we're just gonna pin it. So I pinned the side that was opened, and now I'm going to sew the last seam. All right, here we go. Last step. I'm done. This little project is complete. Now I'm just gonna take off a little bit of the threads that are hanging. My blue thread made it through all 3 baskets, so I'm so happy about that. And as soon as I get a chance, I will order all different colors just to have them. I can't wait for the boys to see these. I know they're gonna be excited. I can just see them like lugging around all their toys, Star Wars toys, and it's an added little surprise for Easter as well.
go. And open.
Open.
Cool!
What's that?
It's Star Wars!
What do you guys think of this basket?
It looks so cool.
Guess what?
What?
I made them.
Mommy made
What?
these.
I made the Easter baskets this year with the fabric.
Wow! Thank you, Mommy.
You're welcome, boys. I hope you enjoyed this DIY video of making your own little baskets. Please make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe, and check out this video on how to make your own meaningful Easter basket. And also check out my video on how we did a special little Easter gift for our neighbors.